welcome to Rathod's IAS Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see very important current affairs that appeared in our today's Hindu newspaper. So before seeing that articles, I want to make a small announcement. We in Rathod's IAS, we are going to start a program which is targeting this year prelims, that is prelims 2025. And the name of that program is Target Prelims 2025 90 Days Program. So exactly, we are going to have this program 90 days before your examination, so that what is important and what are the important themes, on that only we will be going to focus. So in this course, you will be getting daily topic wise test. So actually this 90 days had been divided into three phases. So in phase 1, we are going to have a daily day wise topic wise test. It contains around 25 to 30 questions every day, that is from Monday to Saturday. And after that test, you will be also getting explanation video of that so and so test. And on every Sunday, we will be having current affairs test. So we are going to have this current affairs from June 2024 till your April 2025. And May current affairs will be covered in last full length test. And this one is after phase 1 is done, this phase 2 will start, that is about subject wise test. So entire complete subject wise test will be repeated twice, so that second and third time revision will be done. And at last we are going to conduct full length test. Okay, so in this way we plan this course in a such a way that we want to maximize the students to clear this prelims. And apart from all these tests, and for every test there will be the explanation part which will be taken by me, and there I will be dealing with even some static. So if you have not completed reading that topic clearly, and if you watch that explanation part, yes, you will be completing some certain topics for sure. And apart from this, you will be also getting the bonus of Puneet sir classes of RC, that is reading comprehension classes. If you watch that and if you practice that, obviously out of 30 RC questions, you can do 26 to 27 for sure. And next one here is, even we are going to give you the access for tips and tricks which are dealt by Puneet sir, so that you can maximize your score in prelims and you can clear your prelims with ease. So don't miss this opportunity, and we are providing both on online and on offline. So offline cost is 5,500 and online cost is 4,500. Apart from this, we are also going to give you very crisp and concise current affairs material of monthly. It will be not more than 40 pages for sure, guys. So if you read that, you can cover almost all prelims related points, okay, for your examination. So don't miss this opportunity. And if you have any queries, you can call us or you can text me on this number. Number is 8074 8074765513. Don't miss. And now let us see our today's current affairs. So let us see the first article. So if you see the first article, it is about international relations, guys. Okay, so if you see the title, it says that USAID meddling charge deeply troubling, says Ministry of External Affairs. So there is one charge which made by US, and that charge, that allegation, we are not tolerating that. So because of this is the news. So what is that allegation? So actually our Indian Ministry of External Affairs, that is Ministry of External Affairs, has expressed concern over allegation. So what is that allegation? The allegation which is made by whom? Allegation made by US Department of Government Efficiency, that is US DOG, made an allegation that yes, there is a planned allocation of $21 million by this USAID for voter turnout initiatives in India. So as you all know that here in June 2024, the elections happened, general elections in India, right? So in that general elections, here now US DOG is alleging that USAID came up with a planned allocation of around $21 million, especially for voter turnout regarding things. So because of this, it is not tolerated by our government of India. So now let us see some more important things here. So apart from this, what is there in this article, you have to do some groundwork. So you have to do some groundwork regarding this USAID. What is this USAID? What are its functions? So it is spending in which areas? So how it is useful for India? So like that you have to see. And even recently USAID is also news because after this Donald Trump came into power, he want to abolish that. So because of this also he is making some, this US is also making some kind of allegations. We don't know that clearly, but there is also one thing which is very much clear, that US wants to abolish this USAID. Okay, now let us see this article in detail and let us see some facts also. So if you see some details, so this article is saying that because of this allegations, because of our Minister of External Affairs reaction to these allegations, yes, we can understand that there is concern about some foreign influence in democratic process in India. As you all know that election is very important and this allegation is made on voter turnout. So here we can understand that there is a concern about foreign influence in India's democratic process. And next here it is also going to have some impact on domestic politics of India. And next one here is, yes, USAID's role is there in India because we are getting funding from that USAID from 2001 onwards. It is not for the first time. From 2001 onwards we are getting funding, and this funding we are using especially for improving of health, education, as well as infrastructure projects. And because of this allegation which made by US, now what happens? There will be for sure significant impact on India-US relations as well. Okay, so here we are going to have potential impact on future India-US relations. And next one here is, now Ministry of External Affairs came up with a decision to investigate about these allegations, whether they are right or not, so that we can ensure transparency and accountability as well. And next important point you have to see is, what is the impact on existing partnership now. So Minister of External Affairs is unwillingly commenting about this future MOUs with this USAID, suggests that yes, we have to go for re-evaluation of our partnership, that is partnership between India and as well as USAID. So those things that you have to see. And let us see some facts regarding this USAID. The full form of this USAID is US, United States Agency for International Development. So actually this USAID, it is an independent agency of US government and was established in year 1961. Okay, and it was created to consolidate various foreign assistance programs, and they want to go for providing of foreign aid, civilian foreign aid, and as well as development assistance, etc. And USAID receives funds which mainly allocated in US federal budget, and actually top recipients, that means the countries which are taking this USAID, top countries are Ukraine, Ethiopia, Jordan, and Somalia. So here in this point you can expect a prelims based question and you have to make a note of that. And what are the areas and what are the objectives where they are working? The first one is you're operating in over 100 countries, not only in India. And next one is they will be focusing on sectors like economic development. They focus on health, education, food security, humanitarian aid, climate change mitigation, and democracy and governance. And even not only this USAID will works alone, even it will go for collaboration with government, with NGO, with businesses, and some international organization, so that they can offer grants and as well as assistance for the developmental projects as well. Okay, so actually why it is in news recently, here US wants to freeze this USAID, want to curtail these funds to this USAID. So what will happen if there is a curtailing of funds? As of now it is giving funds for more than 100 countries, right? So what happens? So there will be impact on obviously US global influence. Foreign aid will be decreased, so that here what happened? So to counter this geopolitical rivalries, China, Russia will be coming with that kind of funds. And next one here is, there will be rise of alternative development partners. For example, China came up with this BRA, so it will be getting extended. And next one here is, there will be also impact on humanitarian setbacks, like vulnerable nations, they have to struggle now for achieving of their goals like health, education, everything. So this is about this topic, guys. And now let us see this image. So this image, it is about one important dance form. So actually whenever you're getting any dance or any culture related thing, you can expect a prelims based question, especially from your art and culture from GS paper 1 point of view. So actually this is one important program which is conducted by Assam government especially, and it is going to set a world record also. So there is a high chance of getting question regarding this dance form in your UPSC Prelims 2025. So focus on this, guys. So if you see this dance form, so the name here is Jumor Bindandini. So actually here government of Assam came up with an initiative called as Jumor Bindandini program. So under this they want to celebrate and they want to preserve and promote rich cultural heritage of Assam. That is this traditional Jumor dance. So the dance form that you can see is Jumor dance, and you can see female youth are doing this dance, and um, they are holding the waist of one another, and there is a movement of leg from forward or backward movement. And even men, you can see in between there are some men, and those men they will be like playing of drums. So here mostly the dance will be done by women, but men will be supporting in maintaining of music. So if you see some facts regarding this Jhumar dance, it is a traditional dance form from Assam. But even some parts of West Bengal also we can see this dance form. And this dance form, which is mainly done by T tribe, you have to remember this. T tribe communities of Assam will be doing this dance. And this dance is performed by young girls mostly in an open area or under a tree. So the girls performed in this dance accompanied by the male members, especially to maintain rhythm and as well as vocals. So they will play musical instruments. That's it. And this dance is performed to a rhythmic accomplishment of mandal, a popular two-head hand drum. So mostly the musical instrument that used in this dance is drums. And apart from that, they will also use this flute and also a pair of tals, etc. And here girls mostly perform this dance part by holding each other waist and moving hands and legs forward and as well as backward. So this is about this. And let us see the next article. So if you see the title, it says that India Pakistan Army officials hold flag meeting in Pir Panjal Valley amid rising tensions at LOC. So in this title, I find two important keywords. So first one is LOC. LOC is nothing but line of control. So if you go to the northern part of our country, so here we have LOC and here we have LAC. So LOC is between India and Pakistan. Okay, and this area which is under control of Pakistan. So this is called as POK or Pak administered Kashmir. Okay, so here this article is saying that there is increasing of violations across this LOC. And at LOC region there is increasing of tension. So because of this now, India and Pakistan, they are going to have talks. Actually, it is a very good move. Okay, so this article is important from international relations from GS paper 2, and even from security point of view from GS paper 3 also it is important. And not only that, so there are some important geographical locations they mentioned. So you have to say about LOC and you have to say about this Pir Panjal Valley. So open your atlas and locate where is this Pir Panjal Valley located and nearby areas. So it is very important. So now let us see this article in detail. So if you see the context, it says that in response to increasing, escalating is nothing but increasing tensions among line of control, that is LOC in Jammu. So now India and as well as Pakistan army officials, they are going to have the talks where in Poonch district. So actually you might have heard about this Poonch district many a times in the news, where there will be ceasefire violations which happens and attacks which happens, right? So now let us see the details. So if you see details, it mainly says that yes, now we are going for having some dialogue. That means communication is very important between India and Pakistan, especially in this highlighted tensions period, so that we can go for conflict resolution and as well as it will be helpful for maintaining of peace across this LOC region. And next one here is there is also increasing of violence across this LOC is happening. For example, recently sniper incidents, IED blast. So because of this, what happened? Whatever the ceasefire agreements which had been signed so far, they had been violated. And next one here is there is also reciprocal accusations, the cycle of accusations between India and Pakistani armies which is happening. So because of this, it is deepening mistrust, and there is also increasing of claims of violations from other. And next one is because of this increasing of violence, who are dying, especially soldiers are dying, and even civilians they are losing their life. So because of this, what happened? There is increasing of human cost of this conflict is happening, and even there is a constant threat to civilians in these border areas. So because of this, even it is raising some ethical concerns regarding the military engagement in this region. So we have to come up with this kind of talks so that we can prevent future loss of humans and future loss of life. And next one is what are the regional implications? So the tensions along this LOC, they have broader implications for regional stability in South Asia. The ongoing conflict that can affect diplomatic relations not only between India and Pakistan but also with other neighboring countries. So these are the points that you have to see, and what are the locations I said. So please try to open your atlas and see that, guys. Don't neglect. And now let us see the next article. So title says Indian languages always enriched each other, says our Prime Minister. So this article is talking about our linguistic diversity. So here you have to know about official languages and classical languages. So here you have to know about official languages and classical languages. So you have to see the number of official languages, number of classical languages, and what is the criteria, and how many official languages and classical languages are present in India. And recently in this list of classical languages there is some additions. You have to see about that as well, and you have to see about total how many languages which are present in India, and you have to see about what are the reasons for decreasing of number of languages in India, and you have to think about what is a way forward. Not only that, you have to see what are the steps taken by our country to preserve languages. Okay, so all those things are very important, guys, so please focus on that. That's it. And now let us see the next article. It is about India an emerging global powerhouse, says Prime Minister. So whenever any important delegates of our country are giving any kind of statements, that will be very important, and you can use that statements directly in your answer as introduction or conclusion, right? So from that point of view, it is very important. And actually our Prime Minister, he made a statement that India is emerging global powerhouse. So in which context he said? So you have to know that. And this topic is very important from governance point of view. And even you can use this in your essay as well. So now let us see this topic. I am going to conclude this very fast because I have now interview. I don't have time much. So I hope you can understand this. Yeah, now if you see the context, it says that in a recent address at School of Ultimate Leadership Conclave, that is in Seoul Conclave, our Prime Minister, he participated. So wherever he is participating in anything, so he will give some statements, right? So in this event of School of Ultimate Leadership, he gave a statement that yes, India is having a potential to become a global powerhouse. So why he said, so here our Prime Minister, he gave this statement because of our country's aspirations to take leading role in international affairs. As you all know that recently we are coming across this word called as Global South. So Global South includes less developing and as well as the least developed countries. So in these countries, so India is becoming a leader. So because of this, we are having a leading role in international affairs, and because of this we need a strategic shift in leadership development so that we will be aligning with the global trends, particularly in this technology and as well as innovation. And next one here is we're also calling for world class governance, especially we are focusing on high standards in policy making, bureaucratic efficiency, entrepreneurial innovation, so that India will be adopting best practices from across the world. And next important point here is we are focusing on some certain sectors like deep technology, renewable energy, and even our Prime Minister, he is also encouraging forward thinking approach. And next one is we are focusing on integrated leadership philosophy as well, and we are focusing on critical thinking and risk taking mindset, so that what happens, so we can become leader in the leader in this global shift. And next one is these skills will enable the leader to respond effectively to this crisis and even to capitalize on some new opportunities as well. So in this way, our Prime Minister also said that yes, we need to have the team spirit and as well as we need to have the shared goals. So whenever we are having this team spirit and as well as shared goals, then we can build a culture of collaboration. So whenever we are building this culture of collaboration, so it is very much essential for achieving our ambitious national goals. So if you want to achieve our national goals, team spirit is very important. If you're not having that, we can't achieve that goal. And next one here is he also made a statement on human capital also. So as you all know that Gujarat is very much successful because of driving of this human capital rather than natural resources. So it is one of the broader theme of vision for India. So in this context, we have to go for skilling of this human capital, and we have to develop knowledgeable individuals so that it will be helpful for sustainable economic growth of a country and as well as social advancement. So these are some important statements which made by our Prime Minister. And if you see the next important article, so here you can see one image of a cheetah. So this article is talking about uh, cheetah translocation project. So actually, again, 5 more cheetahs they had been released in Kuno National Park. So recently, we said about one article regarding this cheetah project that it is not ethically and ecologically correct. But even though around 5 cheetahs again they had been released. So see about this project, cheetah reintroduction project, and why they selected only this Kuno National Park of Madhya Pradesh. And now there are these cheetahs they came up from this Namibia. Okay, so this is about this, and let us see the next article. So again, this article, these two articles are important from environment and ecology. I put together. So here one more article. It is about one more species, that is olive ridley species. So a record of 6.5 lakh olive ridley turtles reach Odisha's beach for mass nesting. So actually, this is the season for breeding of this olive ridley turtles, and around 6.5 lakh olive ridley turtles they had been reached this Odisha coast. So here you have to see about Aribada. Aribada is nothing but mass nesting of these turtles. So see that and see some facts regarding this olive ridley turtles. And last article, so in yesterday's class we discussed about this topic clearly. It is about Supreme Court intervention in Lokpal's order on High Court judges. So see about what are the topics that we discussed in yesterday's class and what are the dimensions I gave. So yesterday itself I said that you are going to get editorial tomorrow. Is editorial key. So here just see about what is Lokpals and Lokayuktas in your Lakshmikant, and see about judiciary, especially powers of Supreme Court, and you have to see about High Court judges appointment process and removal process. So if you see that, then your work is done. So these are the important topics that happened in our today's Hindu newspaper, and by this I'm concluding. So before concluding, we are also going to start prelims come mains foundation batch for UPSC CS 2025 and 2026 and 2027 soon. That is on March 5th. So if you want to take admission online or offline, you can contact us directly. And you can visit our academy, which is located exactly above Vikas Book Center, opposite to Sub Registrar Office, Ashok Nagar, Hyderabad. And I will be in office only, so you can come and you can directly talk to me. So thank you so much guys for watching, and do like this class and share this class, and don't forget to subscribe.